Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 53 of the Hardly Millennial podcast, where we are young, dumb, and full of...
Oh, shit, what's my line?
Matthew!
Opinions!
Opinions, guys. That's right. Whoo, that was close.
Almost missed that one.
So, your two staple hosts are back today, Adam and Matthew.
How's it going, guys?
It's good to be back. Although, it's important to note that our podcast yesterday did extremely well with you and Justin.
So
it's extremely.
It's not that the podcast got like 1,000 views. Okay? It's not our highest viewed piece of content yet.
No.
But what it was the quickest viewed piece of content we have ever put out on this channel yet.
Yes.
So to put it into reference here for you guys, a typical video these days, a typical 1-hour podcast, will get to about 30 or 40 views within 7 to 10 days, within a little over a week. And it usually tapers out under 50.
Yeah.
Okay. We pretty rarely get 50 views on the videos nowadays because people are kind of far behind. We put out a lot of content, blah, blah, blah.
If we do, it doesn't happen for like 2-3 weeks.
Right. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
So this video yesterday got to 47 views in an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was insane. We just kept refreshing the screen and there was more numbers.
And then overnight, it bumped up another 10 views. Now it's right up there with our second update video.
You know, we're really curious, guys. We love it. It's fantastic. But we like to try to figure out and pinpoint why these things happen. Mm-hmm. So if by chance, this isn't even me trying to get you to comment to make the video better. I'm truly interested this time. If you are a person who's here today and you watched the video last night, why? Like, what? That came out a little weird, but what was it that got you to click it so quick last night? Me and Adam are genuinely curious what we did.
Well, because the only thing we can think of is just the fact that the word sex was in the title, and
sex sells,
and we know sex sells. But the funny thing is sex was in the title. But when you put up YouTube videos, guys, you can put in tags, and the tags will kind of depend. Will dictate like. Ooh, sorry about that, guys.
Adam's popular. Sorry.
The tags will dictate like what other videos that particular video will be advertised on. So when you see suggested videos, yeah, exactly. But the funny thing is, sex was in the title, but I didn't even tag sex.
No.
So I am genuinely curious. Maybe you and Justin together are just super popular, and people are like, "Oh my God, Justin and Matthew! I can't miss this one."
See, it's ironic that you say that because I was looking at the numbers, and me and Justin have done one other podcast together.
That's right.
And it is to date our worst received piece of media that we have put out as a company.
How funny.
Yeah, it has the lowest views. It's been out for the most amount of time. It was the biggest tank that we've had on the channel. Was the first me and Justin video.
But the second one
exploded.
Gets just hit or miss with you too.
It's a great conversation, guys.
Yeah.
There really is a little bit about sex in there if you want to check it out. But it's not completely about that.
No, not
It's mostly about hobbies.
So in other Hardly Millennial news as well, Matthew and I have put up our introduction vlog videos, the prologue to the vlogs.
Prologue to the vlog. Say that 5 times fast. Woo.
Prologue to the vlog. I can't.
Oh, he tried.
But yeah, so we put those up yesterday. Those are doing well, just as far as just like videos do. They're doing probably just as well as like our podcast do typically when we put them up, I would say.
Yeah.
You know,
videos are usually at least twice as well received as audio.
Yeah, so we'll see how those do. So you guys can go into the channel and check those out. They're shorter videos, and if you guys watch the second update, you'll know how long or how often we plan on putting out the vlog videos. If you're not sure, you should go back and watch the second update and find out.
Yeah. So just a heads up, guys. If you are really into the podcast, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But the future of the channel is going to grow in a lot of other ways than just this podcast. So if you don't keep up with at least the updates, some things in the future might start to be a little bit confusing to you. I would suggest, if nothing else, pop the update on when it comes out. And at least that will catch you up with what we're going to be talking about in a lot of the podcasts.
Yes. And also on those same lines also, one thing we had mentioned in the very first update that we did was that
God, that was horrible.
You okay?
I just got a mouthful of cold coffee, bro. I'm sorry. That was disgusting. Continue. You were on a roll.
Anyways, but like during the first update, we had mentioned that Matthew and I, we do have a lot of ideas and a lot of things we want to bring and try to this YouTube channel. But for the most part, we're going into this pretty blind, where we really are just kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
We invent all of this as we go.
Exactly. So every month or so, when you guys get an update, what you're not only getting as far as what you're going to get in the future, you're going to find out things that we learned from what we did the past month that either didn't work, things we want to change.
Right.
And if we decide to change something that maybe you guys really enjoyed watching or listening to, well, that's when we need more interaction and delete comments so that we know, we'll
videos,
bring those back.
That is your forum to let us know we're doing good or we're fucking up.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So, but anyways, we are definitely growing. We're past the 50-day mark. I'm excited to see what the next 50 days bring for us.
We're past the 75 subscriber mark, man.
That's right.
We're rounding the corner on 100.
Mm-hmm. 24 more away, guys. So
this whole podcast is just a commercial, by the way.
Just a commercial for...
We're kidding. It's not.
The own channel that you're listening to. But yeah, so just wanted to start off with talking about that a little bit. Thank you guys so much. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and share.
One last little thing I would like to just say about the channel here is one specific instance has happened a few times now that I am particularly proud of, Adam.
I know what you're talking about.
So if you guys follow my Facebook page, you will have already seen a post about this. But there have now been about 4 to 6 human beings, not 46, 4 to 6 human beings who have discovered our channel by typing in one very special name to me. Do you know what that name is, Adam?
I sure do. Good old Leo DiCaprio.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio. There were like 6 people who typed in Leo's name and found Harley Millennials, and I'm so prideful. I love it.
I think that's really cool. And I hope that one day Leo himself clicks on our podcast and shares it on his Twitter and tells the world about the Harley Millennial brand.
Dude, I don't know if I could handle meeting Leo DiCaprio.
No, you get too starstruck?
I think I might actually faint or cry or something.
What are some actors out there aside from Leo that you would truly get starstruck from meeting? Is Leo the only one?
Well, there's one, but he's very obscure. He's not really known by it. He's not an actor. It would be one of the Game Grumps.
Oh, that's right.
So there's a YouTube channel. And, I'll shout them out. I love these guys. They're a huge inspiration for us.
You guys are great.
There's a gaming YouTube channel called Game Grumps, hosted by a man named Aaron and another man named Danny. Mm-hmm. And Danny is a huge, huge inspiration to me. I love his character. I love what he's created. I love the company he helped build. I try to model a good amount of the character I am off of him. So, he in particular, not so much Aaron. I do like Aaron, but he's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because he's your favorite. But Danny, I think that I would be super starstruck.
Yeah.
That would be like an actual like role model, like meeting one. And I'd be so afraid to actually meet him because if he's having a bad day, that would fuck things up for me. It'd be rough. But he also talks about that a lot, where he's met, like he loves Rush, and he met, I think the drummer from Rush is still alive, and it just was an off day, you know what I mean? So and there's other instances too of people that both of them have met where they were just having a weird day and the interaction wasn't what they expected, and now it's changed their view of that person.
I always wonder that about actors and different celebrities, because there are celebrities out there. Daniel Radcliffe, I know, is one of them who, for those who don't know, he's the one who played Harry Potter, and he's done other things now.
I didn't know. Thank you.
But well, you're welcome. but he is a celebrity and actor who who's very infamous for being very happy and kind, with his fans that come up to him,
Okay.
and he talks about how he does go out of his way to make sure he maintains that kind of
I mean, it's kind of your
level.
responsibility, dude.
Well, and
when
that's
people look up to you like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was getting at too, because there are other actors out there who are infamous for the opposite of being dicks when you meet them. I think Will Ferrell, I don't know if he's still at like the top place, but for a while I know that he was like one of the actors where people were saying that he was like one of the most, like the biggest dicks when they would meet
Ferrell,
him. Yeah.
really? That's a shame because a lot of people really love him and expect him to make you laugh when you meet him.
Well, and I always have to wonder because, like, I feel like Will Ferrell, for example, is somebody who at one point, probably was very bubbly and happy all the time when people would come up and approach him. But he's been such an A-list celebrity for so long now, and not only that, but he's super recognizable. I feel like Daniel Radcliffe, you could walk by a restaurant and not even notice that he's sitting right outside, but Will Ferrell, notice that's Will Ferrell.
Even if you don't know his name, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's Ron Burgundy.
Yeah,
like you would know one of his characters' names.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So as far as him going down as being like a dick or not nice when meeting fans, I always have like, can you blame the guy if he's constantly being approached every single day, multiple
with
times,
these expectations of make this a good experience for
yes,
me,
and take a picture with me and do this? Like, can you really blame somebody for just wanting to almost have the what's the word I'm looking for? The reputation of being a dick so that people will stop approaching you,
I see it. I understand it. I don't agree with it though.
I'm the same way.
You make a very, very conscious choice to be in the field of entertainment in any way, shape, or form. If you're in entertainment, we made a very conscious effort and choice to do this.
Yes.
And very rarely do you blow up right away. So there's many years that go by where you could not be a part of it. You can get out. When you finally do blow up and you have that following,
you're expected.
The bowl has tipped. There's no going back to what the bowl was before. Yeah. The water's out now. So, yeah, you now have different expectations that never go away. Unless you can come out and say, I don't want this anymore. I'm not going to do any more work. Stop following. Like, you chastise yourself, to get rid of your following. As long as you have that following, you have to live up to it, dude. You asked and begged for it, and then you finally got it. It's almost like a star athlete. Like, there's so many people who would fight so hard to be in that position that it's super, super rude if you're in that position and you squander it.
Yeah.
There's so many people who would do anything to be there.
Exactly. And there's this very weird thing that happens too, where your name, when you reach that level of infamy, your name now becomes a title, know, and you are expected to meet up to the expectations that title, I don't know the way to word this, but perfect example is like Adam Sandler, right? Or a lot of actors, their first and last names become their title. It's weird to just meet Adam Sandler and just be like, oh, hey, Adam. Or like I sometimes like forget that he has the same name that I do because to me, he's not Adam.
To me, his whole
Adam
name
Sandler.
is just Adam Sandler. That is his name.
Like
Michael Jackson. You would never say, hey, Michael. It's Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when you reach that kind of level where your name has now become a title, it's like, yeah, there's things that come with that,
Yeah, man. And I understand it's rough. I can definitely put myself there, and I don't know that I wouldn't have a bad day here and there myself.
But to say that you're just like, I'm just a person, it's like, yeah, you're just a person, but you're also Will Ferrell. You're also Adam Sandler. You're also Daniel Radcliffe.
What also bothers me is the concept, and maybe I just don't understand it, okay, but the concept of charging for a signature. Yeah. When someone is already wealthy and influential, it's just a little bit of like a slap in the face to my fandom when you charge me to get your signature. Yeah. I came up, I took time out of my day to have my entire day revolve around you. Okay, literally I'm at an event that is for you. I'm coming up to me. I waited in line. I'm inspired. I'm awestruck by you. Like, this whole moment revolves around you. This is what you wanted your whole life, and I'm giving it to you. And you're going to charge me for it?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. That bothers me.
I had an instance like that where my friend and I, a close friend of mine, are really into the show Supernatural, right?
Yeah.
More so him than I. But he sent me a link once, and I believe it was like Phoenix Comic-Con a few years back.
Oh, okay,
but
yeah.
the two main characters who play Sam and Dean in the show were supposed to make an appearance at this Comic-Con.
Oh, so they're probably super stoked.
Yeah, so, and they were going to do, autographs, and you could take pictures with them and all of that. So he sent me this link and was like, oh, I want to go do that. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. Let's go do that. Let's meet them. Let's, have a good time. And he then, it was like an hour later, he texted me again. And he was like, never mind. They charge like $200 to get a fucking picture taken with them. And that was something that I was like, that really bothered him and I. Cause it's like, it'd be one thing if it's you and I at like a video con or something like that, right? And we're charging for autographs and stuff because we're still kind of in the early stages of everything. And you and I probably wouldn't charge $200 either,
Right.
But it's like, but when you're at a point where your show is like 10 to 15 seasons in, it has such a strong following,
You're
make
a
millions
You're a
upon
millionaire.
millions every year just from being on the show alone. And that's not talking about marketing or toys or any of that stuff. And then you go the extra mile to charge fans $200 to take a fucking selfie with you. Fuck you, man.
It's totally the concept.
Yeah.
Now, where I can understand it. So from a moral standpoint, I don't get it at all, and I think it's wrong morally. Okay. But financially, from a business person standpoint, so we're taking feelings out of this now.
Right.
There's no place for feelings in business. Okay. By charging for their autograph, they are adding value to their name, to their autograph, to their symbol, their brand, if you will. So there is this concept of autographs are valuable. You can take a famous person's autograph and you can sell that to another fan of the famous person for money.
Right.
And the more famous, the more money it costs. That's pretty common. That's been going on for like ever.
Yeah.
Right. So by these millionaire actors charging this $200 for a picture or a signature, they don't care about making any money off of that. What they care about is the value increase to their brand.
Yeah.
Because now the base signature is worth $200. So when someone goes to eBay to sell it, they want to at least double their money, right? So $400 or $500. The higher you can charge, the more that you become worth. So I can kind of see why they're doing it.
Right.
But like morally, like I said, I still think that it hurts their brand more than helps it overall.
Yeah, well, and I do agree with you, but the thing that bothers me is it's like if that's the way that you want to treat that kind of stuff, then you have to do that all the time, all the way around. So if you're going to go to a con and charge people to get a photo with you because of just what you said, well, then when you're out on the street and somebody asks to take a selfie with you, you better fucking tell them no.
Right.
But you won't. You'll take selfies with people on the street who just randomly, and that's I think the thing, again, it goes back to principle. Principle matters to me a lot.
Principle matters a lot to you. And you're making a good point here, actually.
But it's like, if you're walking down the street, if you're at a supermarket and you are super famous and you're just living your life, you're buying some fucking cantaloupe to eat that night, right? And then somebody approaches you within that supermarket, bothers you while you're living just your regular life and asks for a selfie and an autograph, more times than not, the celebrities will do it. This is somebody who, just I said, like bothered you while you were doing your regular day-to-day stuff. But now you're going to a place that's literally meant to meet the celebrities, to get the autographs, to get the pictures, and you're going to charge people to do that, but you're not going to charge the person who just rudely came up to you and said, hey, take a picture with me.
Yeah,
that's what bothers me a lot about it. It's like you're punishing the
Yeah.
people who are being patient and kind and waiting, and then rewarding the people who just bombard you.
Well, and the amount of resources it takes just to get to the position where you're in front of that person. A lot of people had to fly to that city from where they live to get to the convention. There's money right there. Then they had to get a hotel. They got to eat each day. A lot of these people are spending hundreds or more of dollars just to get to you.
Right.
And then they finally get through all these hurdles. They run the marathon and they're at the finish line. And you're going to tell them, you got to pay one more time to cross the finish line.
Yeah.
That's where the fuck you comes in.
Yeah.
For
Sounds
you,
like Scientology to me.
someone picked you up in front of your mansion, drove you here. You didn't do anything to get here. You put zero effort into actually arriving at this building.
Yeah.
Okay. You put a lot of effort into your career. I'm not saying that. But getting there, nothing. Whereas us, we have to go out on a limb as normal people.
Yeah.
Take a few days off of work, spend all this money. I think that sometimes the famous person loses touch of that, of how much sacrifice it takes to have a day that revolves around, Jim Carrey or whoever. I came to your convention because I fucking love you, dude. You're awesome. So don't spit in my face by saying it's $40 right at the end for a signature.
Yeah. Well, and
Of course I'm going to do it. I came all this way.
right.
You know what I mean?
Well, then, and something to be, it goes back to of why I think it's also expected for if you are reach that kind of celebrity level to be always very nice and kind to your fans, because people don't. I think celebrities lose touch sometimes that you have fans out there to where to you they're just another fan, but to them you're their fucking world.
Oh, yeah,
I have had friends before and people I have met in the past who have literally attributed like a TV show they really like as to the reason why they didn't kill themselves, or what helped them get out of their hard times,
dude.
whatever it is. So now you have this
Especially
emotional,
musicians. I'd say especially musicians.
So now you have this fan that has an extreme emotional attachment to this show or group or celebrity that maybe other fans do not harbor.
Yeah.
And they go and meet you and you're a fucking dick to them just because you're having an off day. Too fucking bad you're an actor.
You're an actor. And if you arrive on set and you're having a bad day, your fucking director doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
The director says you better look amazing.
Exactly.
Because your character's not having a bad day. So when you're at the convention, pretend like you're on set. You're in character for that time. You're acting.
Yeah, and then fucking, do what you do at your regular jobs. A regular job, you go to work, you do what you gotta do, and then you talk shit about it when you get home, Just
the best
like
thing
that.
is to truly just enjoy what you're doing and want to give out those autographs.
Yeah.
Every famous person had a time in their life where they weren't famous. And they would have done anything to stand there for 12 hours and give out autographs.
Right.
Me and you, right now, you tell me I can go to a convention and there's 300 people who want my autograph.
Fuck yeah.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And I'm going to sign every one of those and speak a few sentences to each one of those people.
Yes.
Thank them. And then keep going back, go home and keep doing what I was doing before.
Yes.
Keep working. Just don't forget where you came from, man.
Yeah.
It's
simple as that.
It bothers people when you forget where you came from.
Yeah, exactly. You lose touch, and once people can't relate to you anymore, well, you've lost your fan base now.
Have you ever had someone ask for your autograph, Adam? In any of your endeavors in life?
No.
No?
I have not had that. Although I did have one time. Now, nobody asked for an autograph. This is just a funny story.
Oh, sure.
Whereas, because of how much I look like James Franco,
yeah,
I was in L.A. on Hollywood Boulevard once, and I was with my brother, and we were walking down, and all of a sudden I kept walking, and I noticed my brother wasn't next to me anymore, and I was, and I looked back, and my brother had stopped like 10 paces behind me, and then I was like, what are you doing? And then he goes, oh my gosh, it's James Franco! And just like...
To you? Points at you?
To me.
Oh, no.
And you just saw all of these heads turn. Nobody like came up and approached me, but you definitely saw a couple eyes get wide. Because at first glance, it was like, oh my gosh, it's James Franco.
How funny. That's awesome.
So I basically just grabbed my brother. I was like, come on, we're fucking going. Like...
Can't take you anywhere.
Yeah, dude. But
That's funny as hell.
But no, never had anybody. Oh, you know what? So I actually have had that happen. But I mean, it was a very like trivial stuff, right? So
sure.
When I was in high school, I was in the drama program for a few years. And there was one of the years we put on, like, practice these little like one skit plays for kids. Because then we were going to go basically on tour to different elementary schools.
Oh, that's cool.
And perform these plays, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, we did small things like Snow White, Wizard of Oz, just these little
Wizard of Oz,
things,
just a little thing.
But we fit them into like these 10-minute, like 15-minute skits, right?
Okay.
And I'm a very goofy, outlandish person, so kids love to watch that stuff on stage. So the closest I got was just little kids asking for an autograph, after I was like done performing these, which felt good, but it's just kids and a high school student.
So I was actually the star of a book signing once.
Were you really?
I was actually. I was the person who was signing the books. Not quite what you're expecting the story to be. Okay, so
I'm not sure what I'm expecting.
In high school. I don't remember if it was my junior or senior year, one of the last years of high school. Everybody gets a yearbook, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, everyone signs each other's yearbook, right? Mine I'm not talking about like walking around signing people's yearbooks. I'm talking about at lunch each day for like 4 days.
Uh-huh.
I had a table and I set up my entire table and I was ready to go. And people the other kids literally stood in line to get their yearbook signed by me.
You build it, they will come.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was relatively well known. I was pretty popular in high school.
Right.
So, I mean, it would have been a case where walking through the halls, I would have signed all those yearbooks anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just made a show out of it.
Uh-huh.
And of course,
ate that up.
Well, especially in high school, people have nothing but time and energy to spend on things.
Right.
So when they see people doing that, like getting in line for it, they'll just get up even if they don't know you and they want to be a part of it.
Right.
And they want to record it and they want to, make jokes and laugh, and some kids want to come and just make a mess out of it just to fuck it up and knock your sandcastle over. And so, yeah, you get this whole array of quote unquote fans who are not even there for you.
Right.
They're just there for the situation, but it makes you look really cool.
There was on those lines, there was some docu show out that was like some docu-series out that was called like Brain Games or Mind Games or something like that.
I feel like I maybe remember this a little bit.
Yeah, it was on Netflix, I think, for a little bit. I don't know if it's still on there. But anyways, one of the episodes was about like trends, how trends start, right?
Okay.
And they were showing a few examples of this. So one example they were showing was just it was like outside in a like a grass field. There was music playing. I think everybody was waiting for a concert or something like that. But there was just random music playing. Somebody was videotaping just this one kid, like in the distance, that was just going ham and dancing, right?
Okay.
But it's just one kid,
of course.
And then all of a sudden, somebody else came over and started dancing with him, obnoxiously. And then before you knew it, there was like 30 people around in this area dancing obnoxiously. And then they would, do like social experiments, right? To test kind of this theory of like how trends start, or not test, but demonstrate. And one of them they showed, and this was actually something me and friends at high school used to do, where there'd be like 3 or 4 of you, right? And what you do is you just like go into a public place and then you stop and then you all just look up. And you all just look up
and kind of start pointing.
Yeah, kind of start pointing, kind of start like muttering to each other like random shit. And then all of a sudden you'll see like other people will walk by and they'll stop there and they'll look up and they'll try to see what you're seeing. And then all of a sudden somebody else comes and now they're looking up and seeing.
And then do random people start pointing like they actually see something?
I don't know if people started pointing, but
I bet they will.
But if you get enough, because I'm sure at that point they're trying to point out like, I think they're looking at that.
Because that's manipulation.
Yeah.
Literally people will find something in anything.
Yes.
So if you tell them there's something on that wall, you can't see it. Are you kidding me? You can't see it. Eventually, if you push it enough and you say the right words, that person will go, oh, I see it. I see the thing on the wall, even though you know there's nothing on that wall.
That has happened in there was, I don't know exactly what you would call it, but there was a famous case that I want to say happened back in the 80s in New York. And it happened in Central Park. And there was this young lady who was walking through Central Park, and she was attacked and gang raped by like 4 to 5 men.
Whoa,
right?
That's not good at all.
So,
Shit.
But what the story is they ended up arresting these 5 young black kids, right?
Right.
Now, I don't know how they were able to somehow tie these 5 young black kids to this incident, but they did. But they arrested 5 young black kids. That's the police's job,
right? To do that. Yeah.
And these 5 young men kept saying over and over again, like, no, we did not do anything. We did not rape this woman. We do not know this woman. We weren't in the park, all of this. But they kept them for, I want to say, like 2 weeks and just kept grilling them and interrogating them and saying, no, you did it. No, you did. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. And it got to a point to where they were telling them they did it so much and they kept them in this jail for so long, they all just admitted to doing it.
Yeah, bro. It's a real psychological thing. Vsauce actually does a whole episode about this. I think we watched it together.
I think we did too.
Where he set up an experiment. Vsauce is another fantastic YouTube channel. If you're into like little learning things for 10 to 15 minutes, fantastic. Check it out.
Great, yeah.
Anyway, he does one where he sets up an experiment in that he tells people to volunteer for a research and development project. So they're supposed to be taking a test to help develop some kind of product. Okay, and they're taking a written test about it. There's 2 people in the room at a time, and basically they do not cheat, but he comes out and accuses and says cheating happened on this test. That's totally fake. And of course the people who are part of the test say, no, I didn't cheat. No, I didn't cheat. And his name's Michael, right?
Yes.
Michael from Vsauce, who doesn't really have very much experience being a psychologist or any kind of master manipulator. He's just a regular, intelligent guy. He alone was actually able, after 2 or 3 people practicing, to get one of the contestants to admit to cheating and to sign their name on a piece of paper in ink saying that, yes, I did cheat.
Yep.
Even though the person actually started like breaking down and crying when he left the room because they were like, I didn't cheat. I didn't. But now you've signed a piece of paper saying you did.
Yep.
So if that's a court case, you just signed away to a felony. You could be doing 25 years now, and you know you didn't do it.
Well, and another thing they mentioned on that same episode, I believe, was they were showing clips from actual interrogations from people who broke laws. And one thing this lady, this expert, was telling everybody, if you find yourself in this situation, is do not say anything under any circumstances, period.
Just don't talk.
You know, they're going to try to tell you that you have to.
You don't.
But you just don't talk.
You literally have the constitutional right
to stay
to
silent.
not talk.
Yep.
And there's only 12 or so things you have a right about. Like having a right is a big deal, guys.
Yeah.
They cannot take that from you.
Then all of a
you
sudden,
don't have to incriminate yourself.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you're watching, because they showed several clips, and you see all of these officers of different colors, different genders, all using the same techniques to get these.
You remember the technique that she did with the where she gave him the IV?
No,
of the medicine. So basically,
the truth serum stuff.
The truth serum stuff. So this was a professional interrogator. Yeah. She spent her whole career working for a police department. I don't know which one. Working for a police department and interrogating people. She was a master at this. And she actually was explaining that they will approach you in such a way and have you sign these papers and say, look, not quote unquote, but they'll say something along the lines of, if you just go through this test, okay, there's this test, it's called xenophilophobia, okay?
Right.
And you have no idea what that means, but this particular test, it'll only take a few minutes, and when it's done, we'll let you go, okay? It'll be easy to see you didn't do anything wrong, no problem, okay, trust me. So you sign this piece of paper. Now, once you've signed it, you're obligated to take this test. They have all the rights they want over you to
Right.
take this test. And they literally put you in a fucking chair and they give you an IV. And in this IV is like a sedative, but it doesn't knock you out completely. And this sedative, they will start to interrogate and talk to you. And you'll start to feel drowsy and happy and sleepy. And before you know it, you are admitting to and saying pretty much anything this person wants you to say.
Yeah.
You are jelly.
Yeah, I don't think that's something they actively practice in police station.
I think if you consent to it, they
well,
will.
because what I think what they were just demonstrating is that they were just trying to show this is what truth serum, quote unquote truth serum is. But,
Right.
But at one point they asked, because they were trying to get Michael from Vsauce. They told him like he's going to say like a couple of like absolute lies that she was going to ask him about. And they wanted to see if he
wasn't supposed to admit he had a sister.
Yeah, not
and he wasn't supposed
to
to admit that he had a show called Vsauce.
Yes. And eventually it got to a point where they put so much in him to where she asked him at one point, because he has a YouTube Red show now with Vsauce. And she asked him, do you prefer to do the Vsauce Red show or do you prefer to do the YouTube channel? Now, mind you, this is on the Red show.
Right.
And he's literally there drowsy and goes, I like doing the YouTube videos better. I have more freedom. I have to listen to stupid producers when I do the Red show and shit.
Yeah.
Like just openly like,
And keep in
fuck
mind,
this
guys,
show.
this is a person, Michael willingly went into this test. So he knew what to expect and he knew what he needed to not say. So he was trying with all of his might and all of his willpower to not do these things.
Yes.
He had every opportunity to succeed and still he failed. He still admitted to something he didn't want to admit to. So imagine not understanding what is going on, not introducing yourself to any of these people first. You don't know if they're nice, if they're mean, who they are on the outside. You don't know what they're putting in your arm or where you are. Imagine how hard that would be
Yes.
to keep consistent and not say something you didn't mean to say.
Yes.
And if you accidentally say the wrong word once, you just admitted to doing that.
Yeah.
Now it goes down in history that you did it. Yeah.
What a fuck-
It is fucked up.
It is super fucked up.
It makes you think how many people are actually wrongfully in jail, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Well-
sure that there's more people in jail who are supposed to be there. Okay,
Yes. But it's just the fact that like
Dude.
police officers, for example, because one of the things this woman made mention was when you're arrested for allegedly committing a crime and they put you in this interrogation room, their job is not to find out whether or not you did it. Their job is to get a confession from you.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
They don't care if you've done it or not.
Only
they just need
a
a confession.
They don't ever want you to be found innocent of something. They're not there to help you. They're
And how
there to
sad.
attack you.
And how
in
sad.
every single case, which is sad. It is.
Police officers are supposed to be there to serve and protect, not, serve and
Not ruin lives,
fucking
dude.
ruin your
They're not
life.
supposed to ruin
Yeah.
lives. They're supposed to help your life. It's interesting that to be a police officer, you don't have to have any kind of law degree.
Yeah.
You do not have to study the law that you uphold at all.
You don't even need a college degree. I don't even think you need a high school diploma. I think you can literally, as long as you get through the police academy training.
Well, it's just a city government job.
Right.
You work for the city that you live in.
That's wrong.
A lawyer knows a lot more about the law than a police officer does. And the police officer is the guy in charge of putting you behind bars or not.
Yeah.
They actually put the handcuffs on you and take you to jail.
Yes. And when you have these cops, these people putting on a cop's uniform, and they only have a high school degree, and maybe they were the egocentric dick in high school, and now you've just maybe they were the bully in high school, and now you've given that man a fucking uniform and power over people.
And it only takes a few to taint the name of everyone.
Yes.
I do truly believe, that most police officers, even 9 out of 10 of them, even in our own community, that they do want to be out there.
Yes.
I mean, why would you go out and literally put your life on the line every day for less than $100,000 for what,
Right.
40, 50 grand a year?
Right.
When you have a family, you have kids, like every shift could literally be your last shift. You
Yeah.
could get shot in the head any day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you do that if you didn't truly care about something about in the community? Most of the time.
Right.
I think most of them are like teachers. They want to help. But there's the 1% of teachers who they couldn't do, so they're teaching.
Yeah.
And they're bitter about that. There's the 1% of police officers who were picked on, who are now using their power incorrectly.
Right.
And that 1% is easily seen compared to the 99% of very good ones.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's also, in the case of police officers, it's up for the 9 out of 10 good ones, I think instead of preaching out like, not all cops are bad guys, like, stop this. I think what instead they need to do is stop trying to convince the people that all cops are good and go out there and actively protest these officers that are doing fucked up shit and getting off for it.
Yeah.
Like, don't get mad at the people for thinking something. Get mad at the people who are causing people to think that way.
Well,
and I don't
there's
think you
this-
see enough of that.
I think that also they try to have this concept of police officers are just people, and people make mistakes. So police make mistakes.
Right.
Right? Oops, what an accident. Except a police officer's career is one of the only careers in our society that your actions directly affect the person you are engaging with.
Yes.
It affects their life for the rest of their life.
Yes.
They can never undo the situation that you are putting them into as a
Yes.
police officer. So with great power comes great responsibility, right? Spider-Man said it.
Sure.
So if you are the only person in society who can escalate violence, if someone brings a knife out, a police officer can bring a gun out.
Yes.
They're the only ones who are allowed to escalate, to use more violence to stop violence. That's okay. They're the only ones who can put someone under arrest. They have certain things that they are the only ones in society who are allowed to do it. So, yeah, you're under a fucking magnifying glass, and I'm not sorry.
Yes.
I'm not sorry at all, and I don't feel bad that you are scrutinized more than everyone else.
Yeah,
Because
I
if you don't
agree.
like it, don't fucking be a police officer. I only want the elitist, best of the best, most well-controlled human beings to be police officers.
Exactly. Well,
Absolutely.
and plus, if you're complaining because you did something that was maybe, questionable and you're being scrutinized for it, well, the only reason you're worried about being scrutinized is because you know you did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
If you truly believe that you are 100% in the right, then you're not going to care if you're scrutinized because you're going to know you're in the right. But when you hear these stories about somebody crawling on the ground towards officers with no gun, injured, no weapon, and the cops open fire on them and shoot them 5 times and kill them, and then they sit there and go, well, I was just doing my job. Fuck you.
you,
Somebody
you were doing your
died
job.
and we
Yeah.
have a video.
And now you are
Like-
responsible for your choices.
Yes.
Yes. 100%, dude. If a member of the military shoots a civilian in the middle of a gunfight, they don't throw him in handcuffs right away. Okay,
Right.
They make sure everyone's alive. They finish the gunfight. That's all done. But if there's video recording of a civilian getting shot by Sergeant X, they will court-martial Sergeant X after the battle.
Right.
They'll say, you're now under arrest. You've broken the rules of engagement, and you need to justify what you did. You need to prove to us that the reason you did that was saved lives,
Yes.
basically. Okay? Same fucking thing for a police officer, in my opinion. Your job entails taking lives sometimes. So when you do choose to take that route, you gotta fucking justify it, dude.
Yes.
Prove to us that lives were saved by taking this life.
And I think that's why so many people get pissed off, because so often you see, like, the chief officer will just look into the situation and go, oh, no, that's good. He's good.
Well, of
And then
course, because there's a brotherhood mentality.
Right. And then there's no, repercussions for the actions at that point.
If someone sued you tomorrow for saying, I've already used the name Hardly Millennial,
Right.
so I'm suing Adam. But they say, Matthew, you're going to be the judge for the whole case.
Right.
I'm going to go, well, Adam didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Case closed. Bye. Let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's literally the situation you're putting it in when you have the boss, the sergeant, or whatever, be in charge of scrutinizing his own police officers.
Yes.
He's obviously going to say, well, nothing bad happened here. Let's move on.
Uh-huh.
It's just hard. I've always had a theory. Okay, I'm not just complaining here. I have an idea of how it could possibly be fixed.
Okay.
So my idea is to have cycles, to cycle out police officers.
Okay.
So basically, make it almost be like a jury of your peers kind of deal. So for maybe 1 month out of the year, you will get summoned to police officer duty. So you have to go out and you become a police officer.
Okay.
When that month is over, that certain amount of time is over, you go back to doing your regular thing. Now, this would be handled with your other job because everyone has a normal job. I'm a barista, and I get summoned for police officer duty. So I have to tell my job I need a month off. Okay? It would be dealt just like jury duty. If there's a case you get chosen for and it's a month-long case, you would deal with it exactly the same. You're compensated by the state. Your job is not allowed to discriminate on that situation and fire you, okay? And you're compensated. So for that month, your focus would be being a police officer for your community. When you're done, you go back to your normal life, and you don't get chosen again until the rest of the community has had a turn. So you really don't have to worry about getting chosen pretty much ever again, okay?
Right.
Now, what this would do is it would put a little piece of the responsibility on every single person because we all get a turn doing this job. Now, if you're disabled or unable to be a police officer, you can still help out the judicial system somehow for that month. Okay, there's no reason why everyone cannot be a part of this plan.
Okay.
What it also keeps from happening is empires being built from police officers working in the same jurisdiction for 20 or 30 years and getting to know and getting to build bias on certain places and certain people. And I think it would also create kind of this mentality of when I deal with a police officer, if I get pulled over, I should probably be a little nicer to him because a day will come where I'm going to have to do this. And I don't know, I just think it would turn into a lot less of them and us.
So I think the sentiment of that plan is very nice, but I just don't think it would work because, for one, there's training that is required to become a police officer. You know, maybe they didn't go to the police don't go to law school, but they still know a little more than your average Joe. So now you're talking about that is totally true. Come on,
I don't know. If
somebody,
anything, the training is physical.
If somebody pulls you over for a traffic violation, and you have a regular Joe who like messed something up or like doesn't know the little ins and outs of the law, you know, and is pulling you over now, giving you a ticket for something that's actually totally legal. Like, I don't want to put what I have to pay later on in the hands of Matthew in case Matthew didn't do his research correctly, whereas somebody who's a police officer is more experienced in doing this. Plus, if you do find yourself in a situation where you're in a gunfight and I'm a police officer that does this for a living and has been doing this for a year, and now the person I have with me is you with zero training, I don't want you next to me. I want somebody else who has full training next to me to deal with this situation.
I get what you're saying. I understand. I think you're putting a little too much faith in the police officer system.
I don't think you're putting enough.
I think you're assuming that all officers have years and years of experience. And there's plenty of new officers who start out, and day 1 through day 30, I don't think those officers have any fucking clue what they're doing. I don't think they have any more knowledge of the law than a community college graduate.
Well, sure they do. They don't just do physical tests when you go through this police academy business. They go through a lot of different things. They don't just say, "Okay, you're going to run obstacle courses for the next 6 months."
That's all I've ever seen. I don't know what the police officer written test looks like.
Well, but
I don't know what kind of education you would need to pass that test. I don't know, Adam, that I couldn't go down tomorrow and pass the written police officer test. I'm pretty confident that I probably could. And I certainly have never put any amount of effort into researching the laws.
Well,
But I know not to run a red light. I know that speeding is wrong. I know that you can't touch anyone. Like, there's basics that
Right.
everyone knows is wrong.
okay.
I think there's lots of police officers who just run off of those for their whole career.
Okay, well now put yourself in this situation where maybe you have a mother who lives alone with her one child, and she calls 911 because somebody broke into the house and is holding her and her son at gunpoint. And then you show up, the volunteer police, or the 1 month a year police show up to deal with the situation, and something happens where the perp takes the kid and starts running, and you have to run after that kid. How do you think the mother's
Right.
going to feel knowing, I got one of the volunteers to chase after him?
I understand that too. I get that. I don't believe that if you are in a situation where there is gunpoint or hostages involved, every instance I've ever seen or encountered on television or games or anything like that, that's always a different team that gets brought in for that. They would never send regular squad cars with regular patrol officers with a sidearm to a hostage situation. They send the SWAT team. They have a professional team of individuals who their job is to break down doors, go into houses, seize things room by room. So you would still have that for the highly dangerous, engaging situations. You would still have the SWAT team. You would still have armored vehicles with arms that can pull down entire walls. You would still have tear gas, snipers, all that shit.
Right.
But what I'm talking about is for your 85% of daily life, day-to-day traffic stops, patrol officers. Cycle those fuckers out.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of changes that need to be done within police, but I do not want somebody who
No?
1 month out of every 3 years fucking does a police.
I think they do a
round
better
and
job,
does
man.
it. No, I do not. I 100% disagree with you. I think you're not putting enough faith into the police officers.
Imagine if someone told you had to be a police officer for the next month. You'd be like, I better figure out what the fuck to do.
Well, maybe me, but I'm not going to put that much faith in everybody else to do the same
You're no
thing.
different than anyone else. You're just a regular person. I'm sure a lot of
I'm
people
vastly
think that
different
way.
than everybody else, just as you're vastly different from everybody else. Not everybody's going to say, I have to be a police officer for the next month. I better fucking start writing an essay on how to do it correctly and make sure I know my shit.
You don't think most people would want
No.
to do it correctly?
Absolutely not. Most people are not going to care. They're going to, just like how most people don't want to do jury duty, but they fucking do it begrudgingly. And I guarantee there's a lot of people who sit on that jury who are maybe on the fence about the situation, but because 10 people say, no, he's probably guilty, they're going, oh, well, I think he's innocent, but I'll write down guilty because I just don't want to do this anymore.
Right. I'm sure that happens.
And I'm sure that you'd get the
sure.
same thing.
But you certainly don't have any jurors who have been doing it for 30 years and know all the judges.
And I think you're right.
You don't have these empires that build in the jury community.
And there's still problems with jury duty that we've discussed multiple times, and we still don't like the way that it's done. So why on earth would we want our police officers run the same way? Now you're talking about adding physical activity, and they have the power to put you in jail? To convict you?
Oh, yeah, they would still have all the power that police officers have.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're police officers.
I don't want that from some random Joe.
I don't know. I might be okay with being part of that social experiment.
Well, I wish you luck.
Interesting, though.
I think it's down a horrible path, and I think the second you'd get pulled over by a volunteer,
So
who
how
doesn't
do
know
we
what the
fix
fuck
it?
they're doing.
So how do we
Well,
fix
I don't
the
know.
police system?
I don't know.
Does it
think,
take more education? Do we need to educate the officers more?
I think that's a good place to start. I think more
definitely a good
education
place
is
to
a good
start,
place to
right?
start. I think same thing with like teachers, for example, right? Teachers and police officers are, just as we mentioned, two jobs where it's like usually if you do it because you want to do it, right?
Usually. You're not doing it for the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, in Finland, for example, I believe is number one in education in the world.
I totally believe
They
it.
have the number one education system. But one difference with them is their teachers are revered just as highly and paid just as highly as like a doctor and a lawyer are. So they truly value their teachers there and what they do because they are shaping and molding young minds. So I think when it comes to things like that hold such an importance, those are things that we need to be putting money in and saying we need to pay you a lot for this, or we need to make sure we give you extra training for this. I believe also the reason why they're revered like that in Finland is because much like becoming a doctor or a lawyer, I think you need a minimum of a master's degree, and that's to teach anything.
Oh, that sounds
master's
amazing.
degree
that
in
sounds
education.
Great.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
your job is to instill knowledge upon others.
Right.
So I would love for you to have a master's amount of knowledge.
Exactly.
Yes, that sounds lovely.
So I think that's the same thing when it comes to like police officers. Don't make it a very high paying job, but also make it something that's a little more difficult to get involved in.
I could get behind something like that.
And that's what I think needs to be done.
And that that key, I'm missing the word I'm trying to find here, but basically you don't have to change the system at that point. You can keep the system exactly how it is now, but you're refining the already made system. You're saying we're going to require more knowledge and more effort out of you guys to keep doing this job, but we're going to compensate you much more for doing it.
Yes. Exactly.
But nothing as far as how the system actually runs and works changes. It still runs the same.
Yeah.
I like it. I think that it maybe would have, at least in the short term, it would get police officers to have a little more pride in what they're doing, to feel more appreciated, I guess.
Yeah.
If you will.
Well, and the thing is, it will just happen naturally, because if we find ourselves in a society where we truly trust and feel that our police officers are doing right by us, well, that respect's going to go right back to them, and they're going to feed that respect back to us.
So my only worry in a system that would work exactly like that would be elitism running wild. So basically would be, so you're giving this person too much compared to everyone else. So now you're saying you have a job where you're allowed to do things other people are not allowed to do. You have a job where you have control over others. If you tell them to do something, they have to do it within reason. And you have a job where you can change people's lives.
Right.
Okay. For good, but more so for the worse. You can remove them from society. So you have a lot of power over people. Now you're taking this powerful position and you're only giving it to above intelligent people, because there would be a lot more schooling needed in this situation to be a police officer.
Correct.
So now you have an above intelligence human being with a highly influential job, and the sprinkling on the cake is you're going to pay them more than 70 or 80% of society makes. So now I'm smarter than everyone else, literally. I have a more powerful position than everyone else, literally, and I'm being compensated, paid more than everyone else. Why would you not start to think that you are better than everyone?
Well, the way that I would fix that then is, instead of like maybe giving the police officers or anybody within that kind of like type of job like a substantial, like 6-figure pay raise, I would say you give them more of a pay raise than what they're making now. And what you do is you offer an incentive, right? So if you go so many months without having complaints or having any issues, well, then you get a bonus or you get a bump, or and then if you do have issues, that goes down.
And the cream kind of rises to the top.
Yeah.
There.
So, but you make those incentives not about how many arrests you make, about do you get do you have people call in and say, I dealt with so and so officer, or this person did this for me, or and those are the kind of incentives you leave right now. And this happens with a lot of things. This goes back to the interrogation stuff. The incentives that are offered to police officers are, okay, how many arrests did you make?
Yeah, it's the negative
when you're
connotation.
given, or did you get a confession? We don't want to know if they're innocent. We want to know if you got a confession. So when you do those kind of things, well, now it's not about, is this person really endangering other people on the freeway by going 5 miles over the speed limit? Probably not. But I got that quota I have to make.
Exactly.
And
I totally agree.
So I think if you may bump up the pay raise, bump up the education, and bump up the incentives. But
I agree. And
there has to be a balance of all three.
You used the perfect word. I was gonna say, it's all about balance, isn't it? And I'm sure if we cared enough as a society, we can use our heads together and we can come up with some kind of balance.
But unfortunately,
I'm sure we could do it.
Something bigger has to happen to make the police stuff a bigger issue. Right now, we're focused on, abortion and Trump.
We are kind of running out of time here. Just to cap it off, guys, I don't want anyone out there to think that either me or Adam have any kind of negative connotation towards the police.
No, not
We
at all.
fully understand that they put their lives on the line for us, and they don't even know us. Police are an essential part to society, and I appreciate what they do, and I appreciate them doing it.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean I don't have the rights to have opinions about the whole thing.
Yes, of course.
But don't get anything twisted. I do definitely admire those people who do that.
And on a last note on that too, I would say, I was raised to always be nice, polite, and truthful to any officer that I come across with, whether they're pulling me over or whatever it is. And, I've 9 out of 10 times, come out on top from it, or because they really do appreciate when they get somebody who just isn't an outright dick to them right away.
Dude, they have a rough job.
If you want to be
one of the hardest jobs.
Yeah, if you want to be a dick to them because it's your quote unquote right to be a dick to them, well
then
fine, then expect to get a ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as that.
If you're a dick, they're a dick.
All right, guys. Well, we are at time here today. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Remember, we do have a Patreon now, www.patreon.com/Hardly Millennial, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, you can follow us on all the social media platforms. We also have 2 introductory vlog videos for both my and Matthew's personal vlogs. We still have the second update you can look at. And check out yesterday's podcast and see why everybody likes it so much.
Yeah. Let us know about that, guys.
Yeah. So any final thoughts, Matthew?
Keep an eye out for those vlogs, guys. I'll give you a little sneak peek. Zucchini's going to be the first plant.
Ooh. All right, guys.
All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Bye.